Hey, good morning. How's it going? Today we're going to prep containers. Yesterday we did prepping of flowers and preparations for flowers. So today I have a garden club show tonight. And so it's 3 different garden clubs from the Boston area, and it's hosted by the Beth Shalom Garden Club. My friend Sue Kaplan is a member of that, and Sue and I have been friends for years. Sue was instrumental in getting me to what do they call Art and Bloom at the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. I was actually the featured designer on their 25th anniversary of Art and Bloom, which was really fun. And Sue and I have had so much fun over the years, and she's just a wonderful, wonderful friend. And so I'm excited that tonight I'm going to be broadcasting live from the home studio here to them, and we're going to have a wonderful little get together, and I'm going to make some arrangements for them. And so I want to show them as many things as possible in that period of time. And typically when you and I are here for our events, we make one arrangement, I prep it in front of you, and then I create it. For them tonight, I'm going to have my containers ready to go so that I can talk with them, I can answer their questions, and I can also and then make pretty arrangements for them too. And I can show them as much as I possibly can in a shorter period of time. So that means that I need to prep the containers and get ready for them. And so I wanted to do that. It'll be fun for them to go back and look at this video as well. So if you're coming back from the garden club event that we had, welcome, and looking at this so that we can see how the containers were prepped. That's wonderful. But then I thought it would be fun for us to do that because some of this is just kind of behind the scenes stuff that you wouldn't normally get to see. And I think that that's really fun. Some of the best times I've ever had are when I'm in the back room getting ready for an event, whether it's picking out the flowers and prepping them, visiting with the people I'm working with, or prepping containers and getting them ready. It's just a fun time for us to be together and work and get some things done. So we're going to prep these containers. I think I've got like 6 of them. I'm going to get ready. I don't know, so fair warning, this hasn't happened yet. I don't know if I'll make all 6 tonight. I mean, that's also, I always have an extra or 2 in the backlog so that if I need them, they're there. And if I don't make them tonight, then I'll make another video about them, and that'll be fine too. So, and then hopefully what I'm going to do is, tomorrow after tonight, I'm going to come back and show you the finished arrangement. So we'll do one more video and show you the finished arrangements so you can see where the prep containers went for that. So I know that's a lot, and this is probably going to be a long video again, like the one preparing flowers the other day. So if you don't have time for us today, just put this on your watch later list, and remember, ring the reminder, subscribe to the channel so that you get these, but I realize that they're long, and you know what? I don't care. I am not the 2-minute video guy. That's not my job. My job is to make you feel comfortable. My job is to take my time. My job is to have a process and to give you all the information that I possibly can. So if that's what you're here for, grab you a cup of coffee and sit down, and we'll have a great time. If you want to go fast or you want to watch pieces and parts of this and then come back later, do that too. Do whatever entertains you. I'm all about whatever makes you happy. So, and a little bit of coffee. This is interesting. So these are my sketches. Oh, see, that's not going to help. I can't do that. I can't. Oh, look, there you go. There you can kind of see them. But these are my little sketches. So when I'm having my cup of coffee, I sketch out what I think I'm going to do in that container. And then maybe I can lay that down on the table later on. With this high def camera and the lighting, it's really hard because it tries to take care of the light for me and adjust the light accordingly and automatically. And that doesn't ever help. So sorry about that. But anyway, so today what we're working with, I've got some different containers, and we're going to start with one at a time. So I just was laying everybody out here. So we're going to get to all of these. This is a PSW container for my friends at Arcadia Garden Products. These are 100% post-consumer plastic, wood, and stone that has been recycled and made into these great containers. This is the saucer, and it's a hard, durable plastic, and I really, really like it. I think that it's really wonderful. So I love that. And this is the charcoal gray color, which is kind of my favorite color for flower arranging, not necessarily for outside, but if you wanted, that would be okay too. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a couple pieces of midnight foam. This arrangement is actually going to be a wind swirl, and it's one of my favorite arrangements. And we're actually going to use my pussy willow that I cut out of the yard. Okay, and so we're going to use some midnight foam. So I pre-soaked the midnight foam. I soaked the midnight foam in cold water with my Chrysal Flower Nutrient, my Professional 3. Okay, that's what's in here. And then I soaked them yesterday. And what that does is it gets them a little bit of time to drain a little bit out, because when I'm creating something for a show, I don't want water just splurging everywhere, you know? So I want it to, you know, be a little bit more refined like that. So what we're going to do now, the thing I love about the midnight foam is that it's got a little divisions on it. And I'm just going to use my foam knife, and I can cut right down that little division. And then I have a perfect little block. And that little block, I'm going to have it on one side of this, and it's going to be a bigger block on this side. I'm going to take it down just a little bit more, though, because that's too much. That's going to be just about right. Okay, so we're going to put that there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bevel that foam with my foam knife. So I've already done that. Okay, and then that guy's going to sit there like that. All right. And then, I think that just doesn't seem like it's going to be big enough. Sorry. I'm going to save these scraps because we're going to have lots of stuff we're going to make today. So as we're making that, I want another block. Notice this is about half size. Okay, half size. We are going to bevel 45-degree angle. Okay, like that. And I'm going to put that there. So they're opposite one another on there. Okay. Now I'm going to show you Sally Mace, who I'm crazy about at Oasis Floral Products. Kelly and I have been friends forever and ever and ever and ever. And I was just thinking the other day, we've been friends for so long. Last year, we did the Philadelphia Flower Show together. And Oasis sent me as a judge for the Philadelphia Flower Show, and that was really fun. And so when I was talking to Kelly the other day, she said, hey, I know you love the midnight foam. Are you aware of the midnight foam anchor tape? So this is anchor tape that is midnight foam color. So it's not green. Isn't that awesome? That's very cool. I think that's brilliant, right? And so what I'm going to do is I want to secure this. And I know that this is going to disappear when I make my wind swirl. And that's going to hold that in place. And it's also, now look at this. How smart is this? It's the same color as my tray, my PSW tray. So smart. Love it. Okay. And so this is actually a saucer, I believe, for some of their pots that they have. And I love that. But you could also use it for like a succulent garden. Or, you know, it's deep enough that you could be able to plant in there. So look at that. Perfect. Okay. Now, you know what? One more thing I always do, and this is a J thing, and I just think it neatens everything up a little bit, but it also ensures that everybody hangs on. And so right along this edge, I am going to go one more time and catch my tape one more time. Okay, like that. Okay, and look at that. That's perfect. And you know what I can do now is I actually can come in here if I want to, and I can cut a little bit of that tape if I wanted to. And then what I'm doing is I'm cutting off the little tiny pieces so that where it extends beyond the tape. And this is the detail that makes all the difference in the world. I know that sometimes we get really fast about what we want to do, and then it might look sloppy later on. And I don't want it to look sloppy. I want it to be beautiful. So it takes a little bit of time. But it is going to look pretty in the end. Okay, so like right now, that's what that looks like. See? Oh, look at, you can see that. I'm sorry if I would hold it the right way. Look at that. That doesn't look pretty, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to cut and cut. And cut. There we go. Okay. So now I've cut off all those little jagged pieces. And look at that. See now, look at that. It's just that edge. So pretty, pretty, pretty. Oh, very nice, right? All looking good there. And so then what I think I'll do is ultimately I'll put some rocks down inside here, and I'm going to use the pussy willows to swirl around inside here. But that container is all ready to go. Now see, what we saved right there is the time that it took me to make that. And then when I go to make it tonight for the presentation, then I have it ready to go. And I can talk about what I did as I'm placing in the other items. So, I mean, it's just important that we, you know, so that's what we do when we prep a container. All right. So this guy's ready. I'm going to put him over here. So he's ready to go. All right. So now let's take a look at something else. And now you know what? Okay. So here I'm going to use the raquette from Oasis. Now the interesting thing about the raquette is it has a hard piece of plastic on the back side, right? And then it has this plastic over the top of it. And what that does is it prevents the foam from drying out. So if you want something to last for a long time. However, tonight, I want to make sure that I can go quickly. And one of the things about this is that with this container, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this big bad boy back here, okay? That's going to be the container that I'm going to use, that big container. If I filled that up with foam, I would not be able to lift it. My table would collapse, okay? Let's just be honest about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this on top like that, okay? But with that plastic, it's hard for me to insert it through. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut along the bottom here. And I cut along the bottom so I didn't cut into my foam. Now, okay, this is the traditional green foam from Oasis. And I love this color because it used to be a different color that was like a shiny, vibrant green, but now they make it this moss green color, and that's really pretty. I would love raquettes in midnight foam, just saying, okay? Because I think that's a super duper way for us to have the foam disappear. I'm just amazed it took us so long to create flower foam that was midnight foam colored. And I'm beveling the edge just as we normally do with everything. So then, and the thing I do love about the midnight foam is the fact that it's biodegradable. And I love that. And Oasis developed that, and they continue to work on so many different things all the time, trying to figure out better ways for us to do floristry, and I love that. So again, we've got this. I'm going to take that away, okay? And this is still going to sit on top. However, what I'm going to use on top of there, I want to use this piece of driftwood on top of that, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this piece of driftwood on top of my piece of foam. And that's where that guy is going to go ultimately, is going to sit on top of that. But I'm not going to do that until it's in place tonight. Okay, and it's going to sit up on there like that, and my foam is going to run through the center. But what happened now is that I took away the structural support of my foam, which was that plastic wrap that would have acted almost like chicken wire, right? And so what I'm going to do is I am just going to take this, my anchor tape, my midnight foam anchor tape, and I'm going to wrap it around here just to give support to my flower foam. Okay. Now, the other thing about this is this little piece of plastic on the bottom is slick, right? But now it's not, because it's got little rubber bumpers on there, little rubber bumper holders that are going to hold it in place. And so that's going to go there. And then our piece of driftwood is going to go on top of it like that. I want it to be up like this. Okay. And so I'm going to put it in place like that. And what I might do then is, you know what, I've got a couple pieces right here. Stay right there for half a sec. There we go. Okay, so I took one of my hyacinth stakes and I cut it up into 6 pieces. And so then I'm going to put this guy right where I want him. Hold that there. 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 Once I've got all my flowers and everything placed in there along with that, and I'm also going to use some sheet moss too. I've got a box of foliage and moss coming from our Finza Fern Trust. And I'm going to use some moss in there and some foliages in there. Those sticks may disappear, but at least right now they're holding that piece of driftwood in place. Okay, so pretty easy. It's so big. Sorry, it's back. So then what we're going to do, so that sky is all ready. So let's do this. All right. So these are the new Eco-Essentials from Oasis. They are completely biodegradable and compostable containers. And I love these. They're wonderful. This was one. This is another one. Okay. And you know what? Look. Let's see. Perfect. Now see what happens? So I push that down in there, and when I push it down in there, it kind of collapsed those bottom sides a little bit for me. Off there, off here, a little bit off the front, a little bit off there, na-na-na. Looking good. Goes down inside that container, and that's all ready for another arrangement. Okay, so that's another backup, guys. That's going to go over here. All right, so that one's done. So now what I'm going to need is I want to fill this container up with foam that's about this deep. Okay, see, I want it to be flush all the way along there. So I've got some more foam down here. There we go. And I need it to be this tall. So what I'm going to do is use this as a guide. And you know what? I'm going to cut this way. This is why I love the foam knife, because it just allows me to cut this so perfectly every time. Okay. That size, that's going to be perfect. Okay, and you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take this off so that I can scoot it into the edge of my container like that. And then I can take a piece like that and tuck that in there. And then I've got these 2 corner pieces. Actually, that one's too small. He's just going to fall down inside there. He's not going to be helpful at all. And one goes there. See, and those pieces now, then I can cut flush. Cut flush. Okay. Now, I'm going to give that guy just a little bit of a wedge. Because what my container is a little bit dome shaped. So I just want to make sure that that fits in there perfectly. Okay. Now, again, I want to see exactly where that's going to go down in here. I'm going to cut a line there. Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to go straight down. Straight down. Okay. And then this piece is going to fit in there. Okay. And see, I love that. It's going to be perfect. There's a little piece that needs to fit in there like that. And this piece is going to go in there. This piece is going to go there. This piece is going to go there. And you're going to see why I need to have all this area filled in with foam in just a few minutes here. Okay. Now that's looking pretty good. So then we're going to go here and here. And there and there. Okay, now I've got this piece over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go there. So then see what that did was it made that little indentation on there that looks like this. Okay, so that shows me where to cut. And then I need to bevel too because it's got a rounded interior. So then take a little bit more off. Now, I don't want to crush that. So I'm just going to go back in and I'm going to bevel it off. Okay. And then I have a little corner that needs to go in there like that. Okay. And I really don't have too many scraps. That's pretty, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I've got a lot of little scraps, but there are a lot of little scraps. There's nothing really big. Okay. And so now look at that. Looks like that. Perfect, right? Now, I will just tell you, here's another little inside secret, and it's just important. But like, so our friends at Oasis sponsored season 2 of Life in Bloom. And, but it's public television. It's all about education. So you have to be careful about branded items and things like that. So in this case, because I'm doing this garden club thing tonight, I have the Oasis logos are showing. So you can see the Oasis logos on there. But if I was doing this for public television, I would have to flip that around. Because it can't, it's public television, it's public education. It's not a commercial television where we're promoting things. And so, you know, we're going to do that. So now you're going to see this. This will be a fun little thing that we're going to do. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a dome over this. And this takes a little bit of time. Okay. We're going to use this yellow dogwood and we're going to use our flat wire from Oasis. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Nip-X and I want pieces about an inch long. So I want pieces that look, maybe that's 2 inches, I don't know, but that's how big I want it. Okay. And this is the prep stuff that takes a little bit of time, you know? And so that's why we're doing that. So let's start with that first one that we had to look like this, right? So what we're going to do with this is we're going to cut it at a sharp angle. And I'm also going to go to the other end and cut that at a sharp angle too. Because an angled piece of stick fits in and stays so it won't spin. Okay? So again, angle, angle, in and in. Now see where those guys meet together? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece of flat wire and I'm just going to wrap it around that, and it makes a little binding point, okay? So that I've got them bound together like that. Now let's see if there's any other little pieces like that. There is. Okay, so we're going to cut that there. And we're going to go over here. And this is going to cut off right about there. And so, and there. So that goes there. And then we're going to bind this right there like that. Okay. Now then I have these little pieces, and I'm going to go ahead and put those in there too, because that's just going to add a little bit of fun and excitement. Now, you know what? Look at this one. It's got, and so this is also the secret. Bend our dogwood, and I'm just going to manipulate it a little bit to give it a little bit of a bend so that it works well. Okay. So then we're going to go here. And then I'm going to bend this over, clip that end, go into it here. Now, you know what? The interesting thing about this is it's not going to be perfect every time. It's, you know, this isn't, I suppose you could work on this for hours and hours and hours and make it perfect, but that's just not something that I do. But I'm sure you could work on this. And now see some of these other ones, then we can stick inside. Okay. I was going through some notes I had the other day, and I saw this project because for years I did design shows all over the country. And I always kept a notebook about, what I was going to create and what I created at the shows, so that when I went back to those places, I didn't do the same thing again. And so I would keep my little drawings and my little sketches. And it was also just a great place for me to keep my ideas for my, come on. See, this is part of the issue. This is why it takes time. And this is why we do it now and don't do it later. Because we want everybody to hold together. Okay. And I think that's really good. A really good little experience for us to see is that, okay, now this little thing is popping out. We have to get these guys in here together and put the reinforcements on them. I think it's funny because as I'm talking about this, then the next one's popping out. Funny. Sometimes you just have to manhandle it. It's true. Now, see, I've loved picking up these little pieces of wire to do this. And so I need more. Come All right. Then now, see, it's important now that I'm doing this manipulation, because that's why some of those things are boinging out, is because they haven't been manipulated to make sure that they're going to go in and stay in. So this one's going to attach up here. Now notice that they don't all, see, that last one that went in was real tall. Okay, that's okay. Okay. And I'm going to do another real tall one like that over the top of that one. Okay. There. There. Like that. This one comes back in there. Okay. I'm almost breaking it, but it's so fresh that it just allows me to make that. See, look at how much that helped, that whole thing right there. That really made that be very, very full. Added a lot of dimensionality to everything. And see, I need to have a almost bending it, breaking it, but not quite. Okay. And then this is going to go over here, and this piece is going to come over here. Now see how that filled in so much of that? Because at first I kind of thought, oh, this is going to take a long time, and and I've only got a few sticks, and maybe I should have had more sticks. This is just one bunch of the yellow dogwood. And now look at that. We're starting to get it going. And see, what I need to do with this last one is have it be over here like this. And you know what I want to do? I want to take it in here. And then go in there. So now this is like where the finessing starts to happen. I want this little piece over here. I want this to be a little more bent over here. This to be a little more bent over here. This to be a little more bent. Now see, it's starting to want to play around a little bit more. And it's just about attaching in different spots. And see this piece here and that piece right there, those need to go together. Now again, I don't know. I think it's really funny to me because people talk about, oh, you should do TikTok, or you should do, oh, and you should make Instagram TV and videos that are only 3 minutes long. How do you do this in 3 minutes? You don't. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. You have to work at this and manipulate this and play with it and see what's going on and make sure that everybody's doing okay. You know, it just doesn't work that way. Sorry. And this is something that happens in the back room, you know, at a floral show or behind the scenes, you know, backstage. It's, you know, like when the actors are getting ready and doing their practice and stuff. All this stuff happens back there. Now look at that's misbehaving. This area right here is misbehaving. And so I need to address that so that it doesn't cause problems later tonight. Okay. Listen to that. It's like making noise. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stick this piece in here. And I'm going to use a big piece of this to wrap around it. So I'm stabilizing it. It's kind of like Gilligan's Island, you know? Making a hut with the professor and Thurston. That's what we're doing. Now, all of my yellow flowers from the other day are going to go in this tonight. And that's going to be just perfect. Now, do I need anybody else? See, I really kind of like the way it's looking. It's looking pretty good, right? It's looking fairly rounded and everybody's kind of doing well. I'm going to trim off this piece. And these little pieces I just have left, I'm just going to put around the outside because I'm also going to add moss down on the inside of this when my moss arrives. And just kind of going through and checking on everybody. I'm just looking to see if there's any places that are laying on top of each other that there seems to be a little bit of tension on. And if there's a little bit of tension, I'm going to just fix it. And see, that's what I did here, was that was a little bit of tension there. Come on. Stay in place. Okay. There we go. Okay. He's going to look decorative. He's going to be fun. And it's going to be, that's kind of the inside there. And just so you know, what's going to happen is we're going to have these Crispidia. And what I'm going to do with these Crispidia is I'm just going to take them inside there. And then I'm going to put them into the foam here. And then I'll attach that Crispidia there so that those little spheres are inside here, you know? And so that's just going to be a cool thing. So that's a little preview. There we go. Crispidia back over here. All right. Okay, so this one's finished for right now. Okay, there we go. I'm going to put him over here. All right. So now this one is actually an urn. I love this. It's one of the urns from Accent Decor. The bottom screws on. It is, it's supposedly watertight, but again, it's really deep. Look at how deep it is down inside there, right? And so if I want to, I'm going to put, and this is one of the recreations containers that just happens to fit perfectly right down inside there. Okay. And that's going to allow me to put my foam inside here and build it up a little bit. Because this one's going to be a topiary type form. And if I start down inside there, excuse me, if I start down inside there and I fill it up with foam, it's just going to be heavier. This is going to allow me to add more water. And also when I add water inside here, inside of this container, it can wick it up better because foam can only wick up so far. And so see, when I put one block on its end inside here, that's how much it sticks out. If I took that out, look, I have none. So that's what we're going to do. So first things first, this is a great place to use this. I am going to cut this, push it down inside there so it goes all the way to the bottom. Another one on top of it that goes all the way to the bottom. Another one on top of that that goes all the way to the bottom. So look, I filled that up because that's going to be, that isn't important very much for this. It's just about holding some blocks in place. Then I can use a half block of the midnight foam. Okay. And here's my issue right on top. I want to make sure that this is smooth and even. Okay, now it's smooth and even. So when that sits in there, it sits level and it's not going anywhere. If I would have left that in there, it would have been wobbly. Okay, so now I'm going to go on top of that, like that. And then I'm going to do two more halves. Okay, half and half. Okay, now, interesting thing about this, I don't have a lot of stability, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some wedges, and I'm going to wedge that in here, wedge that in here, wedge that in here, and wedge that in there. Now, what that does is it stabilizes the base for me, okay? Now, hyacinth stakes, super important, okay? So look at how long that hyacinth stake is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down until I hit the bottom of my container. I am going to go down until I hit the bottom of my container. I am going to go down, and look at, I'm putting them in an angle, okay? I'm not putting them straight down, I'm putting them in an angle. And one more side. Okay, like that. Then I'm going to trim off the excess like that. Okay. And then, because I'm going to make this into a topiary form, I am just going to cut that beveled edge down the side. 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 Okay. Now, I want to straighten it up a little bit. And you know what I can do that with? I can do that with a bigger wedge. Okay. That's better. Bigger wedge. Better. Okay. Like that. And you know what? If I wanted to continue to stack, I could. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I just think that this is interesting because that will give me a little bit of visual top to it, which isn't necessarily necessary, but that looks more tapered. And that's a little bit more foam, not a whole lot. And I didn't waste it then. But now that's ready to go. Okay. And this is actually going to be made with these green apples and these limes and other green flowers that I have. So we're going to make this topiary form. And it's going to be a little bit taller. I don't have to have foam all the way to the top because I can create the apical part of that up here. Okay. I can create the apical part. I don't need foam. I can use my stems to achieve that. So then I can build it up all the way to the bottom. And so proportion wise, I'm going to want it to be about this tall and I'm going to want it to be fatter and thicker. Okay. So now that guy's ready to go. All right. Down here, I have this, and these are ready to go. It's just one container, and I'm going to use that deep down inside here because I want to create a vase arrangement. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to grab one more piece of foam and soak it and then cut it off inside here. And so that we can get it up a little bit taller to right to the edge of the container. And I think that's going to be important. This is the same container that we used for the protea with the big mink protea and the manzanita branch that we had inside here. However, we're going to make a little garden, spring garden with this. And I'm actually going to use this little oasis heart down inside here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to countersink it inside there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my beveled foam up in here, and then I'm going to have that little heart set up about there. And so that's going to be perfect. So basically, my containers are ready to go. And so we've got everybody all ready to go. Yesterday, when we were processing flowers, I told you about my little vase from the bathroom. And so this was my broken carnation and one other carnation and the little pieces that I had of the aristoma that was left. Okay? And that's going to be perfect. Look at my carnations already opening up this morning because I used my Chrysler Professional 3 inside there. And that's just a little extra arrangement that I got from processing the other day. So I promised you I was going to show that. Didn't want to forget. All right. So now I've got everybody kind of ready to go, and we're all ready for tonight. And again, I took up about 46 minutes of your time, but showing you how we can prep these containers and get these containers ready when we're going to do a live demonstration. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you'll stop back to see what we created. I think this is also one of my other extra runners up. This is the container that you've seen so many times, but I know that I make these because it's the things that they want to see and these gorgeous arrangements with that. But, the thing that really thrills me on a day-to-day basis is this container filled with beautiful flowers. And so it's always just about those pretty flowers. And I think that that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. This guy back here, we're going to use our bird's paradise in. This, we're going to use our iris and our hyacinths and our tulips. This is going to have a king protea in it along with some other pink flowers. Actually, some of these pink carnations that are in there. So, and I think some Dusty Miller. This is just, when I was cleaning out my vases the other day, I had this piece of Dusty Miller. And it's been in an arrangement for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. But look at it, it's still beautiful. So I was like, I'm going to put him in a vase and he may still go in something yet tonight. Who knows? But I don't ever sell anybody down the river. They may need to stick around for a little longer and give us some more enjoyment. So I hope you enjoyed the process of getting these ready. Remember, subscribe if you love the videos that you see here. Hit the reminder to make sure that you get to see the preview. Ring the bell. That's what they say sometimes too. Also, if you have questions, remember that when we premiere these, we have a live chat, and I chat right over here in this column. And you can put your questions in there, and you can ask me, and I chat along live, and we can answer some of the questions that you have. And I get great questions. I get great questions from the people that watch. So I love it. All right. I hope you have a great day and keep having fun with flowers.